The Chef Who Cooked His Wife, Los Angeles, 2009. It began in Lomita, California, a quiet neighborhood that smelled of coffee and grilled sandwiches from a small cafe called Time Contemporary. Behind its glass door worked a man named David Viennes, a chef known for his calm smile and steady hands. He ran the restaurant with his wife, Dawn, who handled the money and the stress that came with it. From the outside, they looked like any hard-working couple trying to make a living. Inside their kitchen, though, the air had been simmering for a long time. On a night in October 2009, that simmer turned into a boil. The couple argued, again, about money, about drugs, about the endless list of things that rot a marriage from within. David lost control. He taped Dawn's mouth shut, tied her hands and feet, and eventually fell asleep. When morning came, the kitchen was silent, and she was no longer breathing. What followed was not a rescue attempt or a confession, but panic turned into something monstrous. Instead of calling the police, David decided to make the problem disappear in the most horrifying way possible. He carried Dawn's body to the restaurant, lowered her into a 55-gallon barrel of boiling water. To keep her submerged, he placed metal weights on top. And then he did what he had done every day of his career. He cooked. For 4 days straight, the drum remained on heat. In that time, the body broke down into something unrecognizable, until what remained was just another mixture of liquid, grease, and bone fragments. He poured most of it into the restaurant's grease trap, the rest into garbage bags that went out with the trash. The only thing he said he kept was her skull, as if that could somehow make what he'd done less final. For 2 years, people thought Dawn had simply disappeared. Her friends asked questions. Her husband gave tired answers. He continued running the restaurant, serving cheerful lunches to customers who had no idea what secrets sat buried beneath the floor. By 2011, detectives began to suspect him. When David realized the investigation was closing in, he drove to a cliff in Rancho Palos Verdes and threw himself off, dropping 80 feet onto the rocks below. He survived, broke both legs, and ended up in a hospital bed. There, confined and defeated, he told the truth. He described everything with the calm rhythm of a chef explaining a recipe, the argument, the tape, the panic, the boiling, the disposal. The confession was recorded and played in court in 2012. Jurors listened in silence as the details unfolded, while David sat motionless, taking notes as though it were someone else's life being recounted. Prosecutors said he had tried to erase his wife the way a cook cleans a pot, boiling away every trace of what once existed. The jury found him guilty of second-degree murder, the McDonald's kitchen killing, Eastpointe, 2024. On the morning of July 10th, at a McDonald's on 9 Mile Road in Eastpointe, Michigan, everything began like any ordinary day. Employees mopped the floor, the smell of frying oil filled the air. Jennifer Harris, the store manager, a 41-year-old mother of 6, had worked there for 15 years. She was the heart of the morning shift, strict but fair, the kind of manager who kept chaos under control. Shortly before 8 o'clock, a small argument broke out between Harris and a 26-year-old employee named Afeni Badu Muhammad. No one remembers exactly what started it. What's known is that Harris decided to send Muhammad home before her shift was over. In the world of fast food, small clashes like that usually fade away. But this one didn't. Muhammad left the restaurant quietly. A short while later, she returned, wearing a mask, entering through the employee door with a kitchen knife in her hand. No one had time to react. Harris was standing in the prep area when Muhammad lunged forward and stabbed her repeatedly. In a matter of seconds, the familiar noise of fryers and cash registers turned into a scene of blood and panic. A customer waiting in the drive-thru saw the attack reflected through the window. He was licensed to carry a firearm and fired a shot, trying to stop the assault. Muhammad fled, blood still on her hands, ran to the parking lot, and jumped into her car. The customer followed, holding her at gunpoint until Eastpointe police arrived. Jennifer Harris died at the scene. The following day, Muhammad was brought before the 38th District Court, charged with first-degree premeditated murder, a mandatory life without parole offense, and carrying a weapon with unlawful intent. The Dough Mixer, Mount Arlington, 2001. It happened quietly on a Sunday afternoon in the back of a small pizza shop in Mount Arlington, New Jersey. The ovens were cooling down, the dining area was empty, and a 16-year-old boy named Elmer Castellano stayed behind to clean the machines. He was new, a Guatemalan teenager who had come to the U.S. chasing work, sending his small paychecks back home to help his family's farm in Chiquimula. The machine he was cleaning that day wasn't like the ones found in home kitchens. It was an industrial spiral dough mixer, a steel giant taller than him, its heavy arms rotating in opposite directions. He had cleaned it before. He probably thought he knew it well enough. Somewhere between one movement and the next, something caught. Maybe his sleeve, maybe his glove. And the machine came alive. The spinning arms grabbed him, pulling him inward before anyone could react. In the narrow space behind Frank's Pizza, the sound of screaming tore through the usual hum of refrigeration. The owner and two workers ran toward the back, but by the time they reached him, the noise had stopped. The boy's body was pinned inside the steel bowl, crushed by the mechanism built to knead hundreds of pounds of dough. Paramedics tried to free him, but there was nothing left to save. Investigators later said the machine's safety switch might have failed, or perhaps someone accidentally triggered it while he was inside. No one could say for sure. What they did know was that a 16-year-old had been pulled into a piece of metal designed for bread, not for flesh. In Netkong, where Elmer lived with relatives, his cousin told reporters that he had been working part-time and sending money home each week. He had dreams of saving enough to bring his parents to the United States one day. Those dreams ended in the turn of a motor in the narrow space of a kitchen built for pizza. The Dumbwaiter, Hanoi 2007. It was a Tuesday night in Hanoi's Hoan Kiem district. The restaurant was full, the air heavy with the smell of grilled meat and the chatter of late-night diners. In the back corner, a 19-year-old waiter moved quickly between the kitchen and the freight elevator, the small metal dumbwaiter that carried dishes up and down between floors. It was routine work, something he had done hundreds of times before. At some point, while loading plates into the shaft, his body slipped forward. The lift jolted, and half of him became trapped between the moving platform and the frame of the wall. The machinery kept rising. Customers nearby heard the noise first. A sudden thud, then shouts from the kitchen. Several rushed over, trying to force the elevator to stop, to pull him free, but the mechanism was too strong. By the time it stopped, the boy was still wedged inside, motionless. He died only minutes later. Police arrived soon after, sealing off the narrow corridor where the dumbwaiter was installed. Officers took photos, questioned staff, tried to understand how such a small machine could claim a life so quickly. The restaurant fell silent. Plates of half-eaten food sat untouched on tables. By midnight, the restaurant's lights were off. Police tape blocked the entrance. For those who witnessed it, the sound of the small lift grinding to a stop would stay with them. A reminder that even the most ordinary piece of machinery can turn fatal when attention slips for a single second. Conclusion: in the end, the kitchen isn't just a place where food is made. It's a place where heat, metal, and human error live side by side. Every knife, every switch, every boiling pot waits in silence, harmless until a single moment turns carelessness into tragedy. Behind every meal served, there's a rhythm of work, of pressure, of trust. And once that rhythm breaks, the whole kitchen turns against itself. Maybe that's the real horror of the kitchen. It doesn't need malice to kill, only routine.